Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Reconnect Podcast and TV Show. Today we have the distinguished guest, Nini Rose Moru. Greetings and welcome to the podcast.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Your name, when I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, at the end it had CAPM. What is CAPM?
It means I'm a certified associate project manager. Yes.
Okay, so does it mean for someone to want to be a project manager, they have to be certified? Or?
It's a very good question. I know certain project managers that aren't certified, but I think for me, it's because I got into project management without being certified. And then a year plus in project management, I felt the need to get certified because I was working on projects that I feel like were bigger than me. And I felt the need to get a certification and get some knowledge and also join the Project Management Institute. So I could also engage with some, project managers that have been doing it for a very long time and also learn from their experiences and get access to the resources that the PMI had in order to just enhance my skills in project management.
Wow.
Yes.
So, diving into your educational background, where did you start? Maybe from primary up until university?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. So primary school, I started at Montessori International School from, I think it was grade O, as I call it, until grade 3. That time, Montessori did not have grade 4, so I'm quite old, quite very old. And then I moved to the National University of Lesotho International School, NALIS. I was there until grade 10, and then during grade 10, then I moved to Machabeng College to do my S4 until IB2. And then post IB2, I was very confused. I wasn't sure. I thought I knew what I wanted to do. I was caught between economics, international relations, law, so many things. I really wanted to do it all at that point. And then I applied for numerous schools, mainly in the US, because I wanted to live the American dream. Unfortunately, it did not manifest. So I took a gap year, and then during my gap year, I was still applying to a lot of different schools, but it just wasn't working out until I found out about the African Leadership College, which is now called the African Leadership College of Higher Education in Mauritius. I found out about it. It was a new school. No student had ever gone there. And I was like, maybe this is it, because it seemed like a school for confused students. If you were confused, you would go there, especially because it was mainly focused on, the African continent and a new way of learning, which I thought I needed at that time. And then during my application to the African Leadership College, I also said, my parents have always wanted me to study law. So I'm going to apply for law at the National University of Lesotho and see whether I'm not making a mistake by going to the African Leadership University. And then I got acceptances on the same day for both the National University of Lesotho and for ALU.
Wow.
So I decided, since ALU is saying I must come to school in January 2016 and I can go to NAL in August 2015, I'm going to go to NAL to see whether I'm not making a mistake and whether I'm not going to regret not pursuing law, because for the longest time I'd always wanted to be a lawyer. And then I went to do law for 3 months. I was like, no, this is really not for me. I can't do this. I am interested in entrepreneurship. I'm interested in business, and I don't think I'd be doing myself justice in pursuing law. just because it's been a childhood dream. So I changed, and then I went to ALU, and that's where I did my bachelor's degree, which is BA Honors in Business Management, and I'm currently an MBA student at Quantic, which is a US university. Yes.
Wow.
So it's a long journey.
So after finishing your degree, when did you start your professional career, and what was the first job that you did, or the first business that you started?
Okay. That's a very good question. After finishing my degree, I took another gap year. It wasn't up to me. After finishing my degree, I broke my leg and I was bedridden for quite a long time. And then when I got better, it was COVID. So we had to stay in the house. So I was doing a few things. I remember I was still really passionate about blockchain. I still am really passionate about blockchain, but I've taken a break from it right now. New technology. So I was really passionate about blockchain. I was writing articles for a magazine in Tunisia called The Central Magazine. So I was doing that because it did not need me to, leave my house and everything. And then post that, during COVID, I managed to, in 2020, I think, July, I managed to get a job as a program manager at an institution called Vatel Hospitality and Tourism Business School in Rwanda. I was overseeing a project that they have with the MasterCard Foundation, where we were tasked with training over 2,400 youth in hospitality and tourism in order for them to get access to jobs, dignified jobs, because that is aligned with MasterCard's strategy of Africa under their program called Young Africa Works. They really want to ensure that African youth are linked to dignified job opportunities. I worked on that from August 2020, and then I was working online. But then in January 2021, I decided to make the move to Rwanda, because how was I running a project when I wasn't on ground? Some projects need you to be on ground. So I went to Rwanda in January 2021. It was in the same year that I co-founded my first, well, it wasn't my first business, but my first business called Prime Capital, which is a microfinance that aims to provide access to finance and financial access to SMEs. So yeah, that's when we started Prime Capital in September 2021. I was still in Rwanda, so my co-founder handled everything on ground. So yeah, we started Prime Capital in 2021, September. And the goal of Prime Capital, as I mentioned, is to ensure access to finance for SMEs, because we realized they were being a bit marginal financial system, and they couldn't get access to the financial products that they needed in order to grow their businesses, which in turn would grow the economy. But business is not always as you think, because how you'll be like, why isn't anyone solving this challenge? And then when you get into the challenge, you're like, yeah, now I get why people aren't doing this. This is not for the faint-hearted. So then, as we were running Prime Capital, I think one thing we realized is that there's a lot of businesses, and their country might even have funding, but there's a problem with the businesses' readiness to access the funding. Because yes, the money is there, the liquidity is there, but then you can't give it to any business just because it's an SME. You have to do some analysis, some risk assessment to say, will this money come back? We realized that a lot of businesses weren't ready to get the funding that's available. So then that's when we started an incubator called Prime Cubate, which we started in October 2023, I believe. But we were already doing some consulting and some mini incubation for businesses. And then I think late 2024, we then got an opportunity to work with CAFI, which is the Competitiveness and Financial Inclusion Project that is currently being funded by the World Bank and the government of Lesotho in order to help the startup and the SME ecosystem of Lesotho grow. So we are one of the incubators that are working hand in hand with them in order to incubate businesses to get them ready for access to finance, or to get them ready for finance, because there is finance, there are enterprises, but then the problem is the readiness of the enterprises. So we decided to also venture into that and say, you know what, let's solve our own problem. Let's solve this problem and create a database or a pipeline for ourselves. But eventually, I think we are creating a pipeline for every other financial institution that's out there.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned that you took gap year, I think twice. How was it like when you took the gap year? Did it, like, mental health wise, did it help?
Ooh. I think, when you're forced into a gap year, not because you want to, it is quite challenging for your mental health. It becomes quite challenging. But it also depends on what you decide to do during that gap year in order to maybe brace yourself to other opportunities that you might not have gotten initially. Because my first gap year, I only took it because I couldn't go to the schools that I thought I wanted to go to. But in retrospect, I think that was the best decision that I made, because during my gap year, I got to do some volunteering, I got to do some courses, and those are things that helped me get into the African Leadership University, because it was a very competitive selection. I think that year they had about 6,000 applications. They're only taking 180 students from across Africa. So the competition was tight. But I think the fact that I took a gap year and I decided to work on different skills, I decided to volunteer, I decided to get together with my friends and, work on mini projects. I think that's what helped me and just made me stand out during the application process at the African Leadership University. And my second gap year, I also took it because I'd broken my leg, so I couldn't do anything. And it was mentally draining because, I think for both my gap years, you see people that you were in class with get opportunities, you see them start jobs, you see them go to varsity, you see them do different things that you also thought you'd be doing at that present moment. But I think those 2 gap years just taught me that I'm really on my own journey, and every time I look back at a gap year that I took, I'm always thankful for it because it helped me get to a place that I never thought I would get. Because with my second gap year, I did a lot of speaking engagements, I did a lot of courses, I just, did a lot of things that enhanced my professional skills that I think also helped me get this role at Vatel. That I don't think I was qualified for that role, to be very honest with you. But I think the fact that I decided to get more extra courses, enhance the skills that I already had, it just really helped me stand out during the interview process. Even though they wanted a project manager with 5 years of experience, I did not have 5 years of experience. I was just a graduate from school. I had 1 year of work experience because at ALU you're mandated to do an internship every single year for 4 months. So you graduate with 1 year work experience. So I had 1 year work experience and they wanted 5 years work experience. But I think the fact that I decided to upskill during that period, and I felt sorry for myself, but I was like, at the end of the day, I need to do something that's going to make me stand out, that's going to make me, when I go back into the job market, that's going to make someone say, I want to work with this person. So it is mentally draining, but I think it also depends on what you decide to do during that period.
What can you say to people who are afraid to take a break sometime and maybe get there, or for some people who are already in one and they don't know how to handle it?
I think if you're afraid to take a gap year, if you feel like taking a gap year, honestly, like it's the best thing that you could ever do for yourself. But it also depends on how you decide to use it. It's very important what you are going to be doing during your gap year and where you want to go after your gap year. For instance, I knew I wanted to go to school. As much as I didn't know which school, I knew I wanted to go to school. And I always feel like things align because ALU, my university did not exist right after my IB. It wasn't there. It only started in 2015, like a year later. It was not there, like it didn't exist. So I think things align at the end of the day. So you can have a goal for what you want to reach after your gap year, but it's very important to, just so you don't just sit around, because also sitting around and doing nothing takes a toll on our mental health. I personally know that it takes a toll on your mental health. So it's very important to structure it, like what am I going to learn during this gap year? If I want to pursue something like law, am I going to take like a few courses just to test whether there's something that I want to do? Am I going to speak to a few lawyers? Am I going to ask a lawyer, can I shadow you during this period so that I can see whether there's something that I want to do? Am I going to speak to a few lawyers to say, hey, I'm thinking of pursuing law. Is there advice that you can give me? Who am I going to talk to? And just things like that. It's very important to just, if you feel like you deserve or you want to take one, just I advocate for gap years all the time. All the time. And not comparing yourself with, because when you take a gap year, there's this thing of wanting to compare yourself with other people who you were in the same class with or who you were on the same journey with. But it's very good to understand that everyone is on their own journey. You might find yourself, in your gap year, and you might, whatever you do in your gap year might even accelerate you further than the people that you're worried, what is this person going to say? Other people are going to their first year. I'm only going to be doing first year like a year later, because I think most of my classmates, they did their first year in 2015. I did mine in 2016 and I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah.
So in terms of choosing careers, what can you say for people out there who maybe they finished high school, they don't know what to pursue, their parents are telling them to do this program and they feel like they want to do this one, or they don't have a clue what they want to do? What can you say to those people?
That's a very good question. I think for one, deep down, I think we all know what we want to do. I think so. I think just that you might be worried that it's not according to societal standards, that it's not aligned with being I don't know what, I don't want to mention different career paths, but deep down I think we all know what we want to do. There's that small voice that always speaks to you deep down that says, there was always a small voice speaking to me that says entrepreneurship, but I was like, what am I going to say to my parents? Like, I'm going to tell my mom that I'm going to school to study entrepreneurship. That was unheard of. So I think it's just really being, when you're stubborn sometimes. When you're stubborn in the path that you take it. But I know other people, I've had friends who said, what, my parents wanted me to take this path and I took it and now I love it. There's others, a few of them that say, now I love it. There's others that say, what, I went to school and did that degree that my parents wanted and I took it home and said, here's your degree, and I went to do what I wanted to do. So I'd say I don't have I think a one size fits all advice. Just really depends on the context that the person is in. I mean, if your parents are saying, I'm not going to pay your fees if you don't do this, then maybe find the love in it, or try to do it, or try to see things from their perspective, or try to sit them down and say, look, I'm actually interested in this and this because this is my plan with this, because I don't think they wouldn't want to hear you out as to what's your plan. If, let's say, my mom really wanted me to do law, because for the longest time I'd been telling her I want to do law. Now all of a sudden I wake up, I'm like, this law thing, it's not for me. I feel like I want to do business. I think I want to do entrepreneurship. And I got myself a school that offers a full scholarship, that is going to, take care of this. I'm not going to ask for, anything. This school is going to take care of everything. Then I think that's when she realized, oh, this person really went after what they wanted. So it's a very different, situation for different advice for different people.
So do you believe people should follow their passions?
I believe in that with my whole heart, but unfortunately, I think we are in an economy that kind of makes it difficult for you to follow your passion. There should be some sort of, I don't know what, but a plan or a fallback. Other people don't have the luxury of following their passion, and it's the sad reality that we live in. Other people don't have the luxury of saying, you know what, if my passion fails, I can go back home and start over. If my passion fails, I can do this and this. But I'm a big advocate of following your passion and also being bold enough to not want to live life in the normal way, because I don't think we'll remember you if you live life in the normal way. But I'm a big advocate of passion, because things that I think I've done have been driven by passion. I know I'm very passionate about inclusion. I'm very passionate about enterprises. I'm very passionate about women and youth, them getting opportunities. Everything that I think I've done in alignment with my life has always, tilted to that. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do everything that will ensure that I'm still, I still follow my passion. It doesn't have to be one way. Like, just because I'm passionate about entrepreneurs, it doesn't mean that I have to start a prime capital or a prime cubate in order to support entrepreneurs. I can also work for an organization that supports entrepreneurs. There's so many different ways to pursue our passions. As long as it's something that's at your heart, you will do a good job at it. So I'm a very big advocate of following your passion, because I feel like that's what drives you to giving your best every single day.
Well, what inspires you? Because I believe in entrepreneurship there are lots of challenges, and you met some of them. What keeps you going?
What keeps me going? I think it's just knowing that I'm making an impact in someone's life. It's knowing that, with this incubator, you're definitely changing someone's business for the better. It doesn't even have to be for me. It has to be for the economy of the country, or for their own, like the entrepreneur's own well-being or anything. That's what really, keeps me going, because you get entrepreneurs that are really appreciative of the different work that we do. And then you have, with Prime Capital, it's knowing that you're really making a significant difference in the economy of the country. You are fostering financial inclusion. You are ensuring that youth and women are catered for with your products. So that's why I only do impact work. I do impact work. There should be money in it, but I'm driven more by impact. But I'm still driven by money. I'm driven more by impact, because I don't believe that you should just do something because there's impact and there's no money. I personally don't do that. If there's impact and there's money, because when you do impact work, you need to be sustained. You need to take care of yourself. If I can't afford to pay for the gym, if I can't afford to pay for my next meal, how am I supposed to help the next entrepreneur if I'm not okay myself? Because I'll be pouring from an empty cup. So I always believe that impact goes with money, but I'm more driven by impact. Yeah.
Well, how do you want to be remembered?
That's a very good question. I think I just want to be remembered as someone who, at any engagement that you had with me, I either made you believe more in yourself, or I made you feel different in a good way. Like, that's how I want to be remembered. Just making people feel good about themselves, reminding people of their worth, reminding people that, look, things might be difficult right now, but there's something inside of you. I like pushing my friends, I'll push them, I'll call you and ask you, you said you want to start a company, how far are you with that? And I don't do it because I want all my friends to be entrepreneurs and everything. I do it because I see something in them that they might not see in themselves. So I just want to be remembered as a person who makes you feel good about themselves, about yourself, or makes you know that you're worth it. Everyone has their own path on earth. It's for us to find it and dig into it, because if you don't do that, then you're gonna be on your deathbed at 90 and say, I should have done this, I should have done that, when you had time to do them but you didn't do them because you were scared, you were afraid. But scared of what? Afraid of what? Yeah.
We talked about people who want to pursue careers. What about parents? How can they support their children? In words, what advice to parents in terms of the careers of their children?
I think parents should be very open. We're living in a world that has significantly changed, especially after COVID. If you hear a child saying they want to be a TikToker, I mean, let it happen. Let it happen, but also sit down with your child and find out what their plan long term is, because you can't be a TikToker forever and ever. Other people are TikTokers forever and ever, but it's very important to have an open and understanding mentality, but also not being too open, but also giving advice to your child to say, look, as much as you want to pursue this, what are the pros, what are the cons? Let's sit down and discuss it. So it's very good for parents to be very open to hearing their kids, but also be open to providing their advice, but not also, there's parents that they wanted to be a doctor when they grew up and then they could not be a doctor. Now they're forcing that child to be a doctor. And, don't force your dreams on your children. Like, you had your dreams, they didn't happen, it's sad. But let your children, don't pass on that thing to your children, because maybe your child wants to be something else and now you're forcing them to become a doctor. That means they're also going to take their children and say, you become what I wanted to become. And it's just this generation of people who aren't happy doing what they do, because I feel like sometimes if you're not passionate, or if you're not happy with what you're doing, then we see it. The way you assist us when we go, like your customer care is not, because you just don't want to be there. And now it trickles into a very sad society and just everything. So I think it's just a matter of being very open with our kids and hearing what they want to do, and being, parents, and giving advice and saying, okay, fine, go pursue this or don't pursue this because of X and Y reasons. Not because I say so, because I think, we're in a generation where my 2K want to understand why. Like, you don't just say to them, do this. They're going to say why. And I think it's time to keep peace. We just understand that, it's a new generation, and a new generation needs a new way of doing things.
Do you believe in work-life balance, and how do you balance your social life with
significantly?
Your work life?
I am an advocate of work-life balance.
Also, I've realized you like going to the gym.
I in the morning at 4 a.m. I'm up, 5 a.m. I'm at the gym, and I'm not going to answer anyone's text regarding work. And then I start my work at maybe 7, 8. That's when I start my work. And then if there's nothing urgent that, will compromise anything, and by 5, 6, sometimes I'm done. And then I just relax. Also, I think I really dedicate my weekends to my personal things. Like, there's work, and then there's my professional, well-being, and my mental well-being, and everything else. So sometimes during weekends, I'm like, I'm just going to focus on building, like going on my LinkedIn, revamping it, seeing which people that I can reach out to for advice regarding my career, going swimming with my gym buddies, chilling with my friends. I'm just very strict about my weekends most times. when I don't need to do, anything significant. I'm very strict about my weekends, even holidays. I think when I was still running the project with Cafe, during holidays, I tell my enterprises that, look, if your place is not burning down, or nothing bad is happening, please don't call me. Even if it's burning down, please call the fire brigade, because there's nothing that I can do. Even if someone is, something is happening, please call the ambulance. There's nothing I can do. So I'm just I set really strict boundaries around my time to rest, but I also ensure that I do the work that I have to do. Sometimes you find that I'm working until 10 p.m., which is fine because I know it's for a good cause, but most times I really set boundaries with my free time and say, if it's my free time and I've dedicated it to that, then I'm going to be strict with that.
Wow. Oh, you're doing lots of amazing things.
Thank you.
What were some of the challenges you met along the way in the entrepreneurship landscape?
Yeah, there's challenges every day. Even this morning, I'm sure there was a challenge. I think the biggest challenge is... There's so many challenges. Oh my goodness. When you have a certain idea of how your business should run, of how things should go, and they don't go the way that you thought they would go. You start a business, you're like, you know what, this is going to be a big business. We're going to be changing lives. We're going to be providing access to finance for everyone. Investors are going to want to fund us. You just think everything is going to be so perfect until you get on the ground and actually do the work and realize that it's not as easy as I thought it would be, from people management, managing your staff, because if your employees are not happy or not inspired, then that's the death of your business. If your stakeholders are not happy, then that's the death of your business. So it's just faced many challenges where everything that I thought was not what it is. The reality is very different from your thinking. The reality is very different from a very perfect business plan that you have to say, I've done my risk assessment, I've done this, I've done that. The reality on ground is very different. So one thing that I really do is I'm very open to learning. I'm very open to continuous learning. I know that I don't know it all. And there's so many people who know much better than me. So I'm very open to, I reach out to people on LinkedIn. I look at your career, I'm like, I can learn something from you. I reach out to you and say, hi, do you think you can give me 5 minutes of your time? I'd like to learn more about XYZ. This is what I do. And this is, the impact that you would make if you dedicate 5 minutes to me. Or in certain rooms, because, most times you find that my team and I, because we are youth-led, we're very young, we're mostly the youngest in the room. It's very important to listen to people who have been doing this thing for a very long time and just adopt a mentality of wanting to always learn and knowing that you're not always right and there's something that you can learn from the next person. So that's how I think I've also overcome the challenges that were faced in business, just being very open to learn and being open to challenges, because I think I get bored when there's no challenges, because life gets so... It's just the same thing each and every day. When there's a challenge, that's when you grow. That's when you can make changes in your business. That's when you can tighten your procedures and processes. Because without challenges, you're doing the same that everyone is doing, which I don't like doing what people do, personally. Yeah.
But has it ever happened to some point in your life that you regret something? Do you have regrets, or you're not the person of regrets?
Do I regret anything? Yes, I think the things that I regret are things that I only did because I wanted to fit in. Yeah, those are quite a number of things, but when I'm in retrospect, I regret the things that I did to try fit in to what everyone else was doing, to what everyone else found cool, you know. I at this point I don't care. Like I do I do what I want to do when I want to do it, and I don't regret it. Like maybe trying out alcohol. It's not a bad thing. People do love it, people do enjoy it. I don't judge people who do drink alcohol, but I think I only, you know, started trying it out just because people were doing it. It was cool to my friends, and everyone was doing it. Like if you don't drink, it's so, people ask you questions, why don't you drink? Are you sick? Are you you know, like so many questions. Like you are so odd. So things that I did because I was trying to fit in, I wouldn't say strong regret, but I shouldn't have done them. But yeah, I shouldn't have done them, but I don't fully regret them because I had some fun times. Yeah. Yeah.
So right now, do you drink or just
Oh no, I
alcohol?
don't. I don't. It's been over 1,000 days. I'm counting. Yeah, it's been over 1,000 days. I don't. Yeah, because I feel like I don't get why I did it in the first place. So I didn't do it because I wanted to. I did it because I was like, let me try it out. And then I'm like, I don't like it. Yeah.
Also, I realized that you like tattoos. So what are your thoughts on them? Why do you like them? Because some people dislike them just like alcohol.
Tattoos, I feel like they're an expression. An expression. For me, they're an expression. I think I know I got them. The first two that I got was because I really struggled with my mental health at one point in life, and it was a remembrance of the fact that I could overcome that, because I struggled a lot with anxiety. I struggled a lot with, you know, anxiety attacks and everything. But then once I overcame that, then I got a tattoo because I'm like, that this is a constant reminder that I can overcome anything. And then another one that I got was because I think from a young age, I've lost people that are very dear to my heart. My grandmother, my grandfather, my dad, and you know, I've just experienced a lot of loss at a young age. And then I got a tattoo just to commemorate and say, I am because you were, just signifying that where I am, I should always remember the people that, you know, contributed even though they're no longer on earth. So I should always walk with them. And it was, so it always has reasons. So I, honestly speaking, I know a lot of people don't like tattoos, but I always say what's important is what's in your brain. If you think I can add value to you with my tattoos, then let's work. If not, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't remove them. I'm not going to remove them. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what can you say to government and people in leadership positions or other entrepreneurs? Any words you'd like to say to them, how they can tackle the issues of Lesotho or African issues as a whole?
I think for entrepreneurs, first, it's very important to know your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Do you have a bigger goal for yourself? I think it's very good for each entrepreneur to have a bigger goal, not just do it because, you know, it keeps things going, but if you want to leave a legacy, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? And what are you doing in your business every single day that aligns with the legacy that you want to leave? Like for instance, I don't want to. I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. I love it a lot, but at one point I think I want to go into government. At one point I think I want to go into government, but I want to leave a legacy of Prime Capital having been, one of the businesses that were in the forefront of pushing access to financial inclusion. Prime Cubate having worked with the government and the World Bank in order to help enterprises, things that leave a mark in whatever I do. So it's very important for entrepreneurs to also think that way. What legacy am I trying to leave. It's fine if you don't feel like your business should, live after you pass away and stuff. It's okay. I don't judge for that, but it's very important that we start thinking of building legacy businesses, having legacy businesses in Lesotho, having businesses that will move from the owner, having businesses that can survive even after the owner is not there, having businesses that are going to outlive the owners. That's how you grow an economy. You don't grow an economy by setting up businesses and then they die after. That's not how you grow an economy. So it's very important for entrepreneurs to really think like that. What kind of legacy am I trying to live? How can I grow my business so that it outlives me? What's the sustainability plan? What's my exit strategy? Because I think one of the people that I listen to, being Busi Tembekwa, he says that as people we exit, as black people, we exit businesses by dying. And it's a sad reality because you see other people building businesses that outlive them. You see a ShopRite, you see a KFC. Those businesses have far outlived the people that really started them. So it would be good to start thinking like that as entrepreneurs in Lesotho. I know our market is small, but it would be good to have some legacy businesses coming out of the country. And then to the government, I think it's just very important to keep supporting, because I know I think yesterday we were at the demo day organized by CAFI, which I mentioned is a project between the World Bank and the government, and the government was there. There is a push towards entrepreneurship, and not just saying there's entrepreneurship, there should also be support for entrepreneurs. It's very important to also engage people that are already working with entrepreneurs to find the actual challenges, because sometimes we come up with solutions that are not aligned with the actual challenges that we face on the ground. So it's very important to get in rooms with the private sector, get in rooms with incubators, get in rooms with banks, get in rooms with financial institutions, just to find out exactly what the challenges are. Because as I mentioned, when we started Prime Capital, we thought the challenge was access to finance. It is a challenge, but there's a root cause to that challenge. It's because enterprises are not ready to receive the finance that's there. I've spoken to quite a number of my friends who even work in the banking sector. They say there is liquidity, but the risk is that we might not get our money back from these SMEs. So the problem is not that there is there's lack of access to finance. It is a problem, but it's not the major problem. The major problem is that there is a lack of readiness of enterprises to the access to finance that we have. So it would be very good for the government to just tackle problems in a very contextualized manner, not just doing it because it sounds good on paper, but sitting down and saying, will this solution actually impact the people that we're trying to impact? Having a human-centered design in the different laws and the different solutions that they come up with, so that we build a better Lesotho and that we can get access to market from outside. For instance, make it easier for enterprises to get certification. Now when I certify, I know a few places in Lesotho, but not a lot of people have access to that information because it's hidden or something. Or if I want to certify, I have to go to SA to get certification of my product, you get me, so that I can start getting access to market. What are we doing in regards to ensuring that people get information as to how they can certify in their own country, how they can certify their products, how they can build products that are ready for external markets? So just sitting down and solving challenges that exist and not solving challenges that we think exist because they're there, everyone is shouting about them, but we don't know the root cause of the actual challenges that we're facing as a society.
Do you still believe that entrepreneurship can be a solution to the unemployment crisis?
That's a very good question. I think I'll answer it in a way that says it is a part solution, because if we're all entrepreneurs, who's going to work for us? You get me? There's other people who are entrepreneurs, people who you can bring into your company in order to build it. There's other people who are entrepreneurs, people who have, get excited by the thought of setting something up. But then some entrepreneurs just set up and say, I'm setting up to exit. So those are the kind of entrepreneurs that I think we need. I'm setting up to exit, and then I'll hire people, I'll get more people to come work in this organization in order to get it to where it needs to go. So I think entrepreneurship is a solution, but I don't think it's the holy grail that we're making it seem. Now it seems like we're saying everyone must go into entrepreneurship. That is not realistic, because who's going to work for the entrepreneurs if everyone goes into entrepreneurship? It's very important to just have a distinction of who are the entrepreneurs, who are the entrepreneurs. Personally, I think I'm an entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur, because I get excited by if someone says I'm building this, come be a co-founder and handle operations. That's what excites me. I'm not excited by setting up a business and dealing with everything and I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in ensuring that the systems in the business work. We can create more jobs for people. We can create more opportunities for people. Our products work. The operations run seamlessly. So I think I'm an entrepreneur as opposed to an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the Reconnect Podcast and TV Show. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Is there? I think just one thing I'd like to share is that just my parting message is that people should not be afraid of pursuing what they want to pursue. People should not be afraid of being the odd one out, because that's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you special. People should not be afraid of putting their all in everything that they do, because also again, that's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you be the first person that we think of. If I think someone to come talk about access to finance, this is who I can think of, because that person has decided to do what they need to do in order to capacitate themselves, and sometimes not do what everyone else is doing, and not doing what everyone else is doing all times is it's good. Sometimes it's good to follow the crowd, but most times it's not good to follow the crowd. So I think my parting message just be confident in who you are, know what you want, and relentlessly pursue it, knowing that you'll be alone at your deathbeds, looking at your life and saying, and you didn't do it. And then when you ask yourself why, you don't have answers why. And it's very important to also be willing to reach out to people. Like, I reach out to a lot of people. Sometimes my DMs get ignored, but I don't care. My friends are always like, how do you do it? I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I mean, I'm behind the screen. They're behind the screen. I can just, while you're on LinkedIn, if you're not going to respond, if you don't want to respond, it's okay. Or if, let's say, your messages are too many, you don't respond, it's still okay. I don't get fazed by rejection. I feel like it brings me closer to the things that I want.
Wow. Thank you so much. We hope to invite you again in the future.
Thank you for having me.